What's up, everybody? Welcome into Funsie, a disc golf podcast. Today's guest we're joined by is no one. It's their four hosts.
Let's go.
And at this point, it actually feels kind of bizarre to just be talking amongst ourselves and catch up on things. It's been 2 years of Funsie, of us doing this podcast and figuring it out along the way. The best way that I could think to celebrate is we kind of ask some more personal questions, which we've kind of done this before in the past a little bit. Instead of people going back and listening to the episode that probably had its fair share of issues, I think it's cool to maybe go back through some of those, and there's definitely some new ones that we can talk about. I guess the best place for us to start is just like, what kind of a kid were you guys?
I have an answer because I literally thought about this last night. I was watching somehow an eye black tutorial for like baseball from like the Savannah Bananas, and they literally burnt a cork, like a wine cork, and it did perfect eye black. And then I remembered I used to do eye black, but in like 5th grade on Little League, but I would do different things on my face, like a mustache. Like that would be my eye black. Or one time I did like a eye patch, like I put it all over my eye, put like the thing here. So yeah, I feel like that's pretty self-explanatory. You could probably imagine what type of kid I was, and I don't know. It's just how everyone perceives me is just like how I've been my whole life. Just like how it's just what it is. So yeah, I thought about that. I was like, bro, like I've been freaking a weirdo for so long. I literally a mustache, like it was like eye black, like a mustache, and then I curled it up on my cheek, and I played baseball games like that. Like, so yeah, there you go. That's my answer.
I mean, that's amazing. Also,
Thanks.
I thought eye black was just like a thing you bought that came in a little like container that you.
Yeah, it is. They were
What
just
is the cork
saying
thing you're
like,
talking about?
yeah, they're like, if you're broke, here's like an eye black alternative. It looked just like eye black. It was literally they burnt a wine cork and then put it on their face.
For me, I was always super short. That was what defined me, unfortunately. And so I just had short kid energy. So I was just always trying to prove myself as, like, worthy of not being short, pretty much. And so when I transferred to I was in public school, and then I transferred to charter school for a few years, and then I transferred back before high school. So it was like I had friends when I was in public school, then I lost them all. Then I made friends when I was in charter school, and then I transferred back to public school, and then I didn't have friends again, and I couldn't make friends. And then I was still super short, so I had short king energy. And then I hit puberty junior year, and I made friends. And that is what defined my childhood.
Yeah.
Let's go.
But it was fine. I remember being annoying. I was annoying because of my short kid energy, but I kind of figured it out. I know that there's some people that find me annoying now, but my wife doesn't find me annoying, and that's what matters.
No, dude, I was the same. I was freshman year. I remember how annoying I was, like, to the seniors, but they let me hang out with them, and I would just, like, looking back at it, I literally think I DM'd one of the guys who was, like took me under his wing and was, like, really cool. I was like, bro, sorry for being so annoying all those years back. Like, it was just like, you know, like 13-year-old, just like just being stupid. But I thought it was like just like, you know, being cool, like ankle butter. But yeah, I'm the same way. I think I slowly had to learn to like, you know, to not be as annoying because people don't always find it like fun. So yeah, same way.
Josh, did you grow like when you were a junior? Did you grow like a foot or something?
Yeah, I didn't hit 5 foot until I was a junior in high school. I also didn't.
Oh my goodness, you were that short.
I didn't lose all of my teeth until they got pulled when I was a
senior in high school.
Well, I think it was
Last
sophomore
year
in high school. I had to get them pulled to get braces. So then I had braces, and I was short, And then it was pretty much like I hit puberty, I got my braces off, and I was like, I'm a new person. I can do whatever I want. So it led to sliding to the other scale of being overconfident in myself, which was also an issue. And now I think I've kind of moved to the middle, and we're chilling. But yeah, I was very, very short.
How do you get teeth pulled to have braces put on if there's no teeth that are there to put braces on?
Oh,
I think it was
It's just
pretty
on
much-
his gums.
I think it was pretty much just like I think the like understanding is pretty much just like baby teeth fall out and the new teeth come in, and so they were like, yeah, like your new. I think they did an X-ray and it was like your new tooth is there, your baby tooth is just not coming out. So let's pull it and the new tooth will come in quickly, and I think that's what happened, or something like that. I don't really remember that well.
I was always really shy as a kid, so I struggled to. It's bizarre because like I don't know at what point that happened. I made like a ton of friends who are still like my friends to this day, but then it was almost like at that point I was like, okay, I've got my friends, and I stopped talking to other people outside of those people. Was always very funny. Like that was the thing that for some reason, like I got the best reaction to, that like made me feel wanted and needed. I was like, okay, cool. This is just going to be like my personality forever. And always just being like really, really artsy. Like that was a huge thing that my mom was into. I would be drawing in class, like straight up first grade, I remember. And if you guys remember like Gundams and things like that, that was like my current obsession. And people would be like, whoa, no way. And I would look at them like, yo, what are you talking about? As if it was like, at the time I didn't know that it was something cool because, you know, it's so early on. But then it's cool that it's translated into kind of what I do now over time. Yeah,
I didn't know what it was, so I looked it up.
What? Come on, man.
That's sick.
It looks like a transformer.
Pretty much. It was like the Japanese anime Transformer.
Did you do something with like a destroyer or something?
Yeah, I think that's kind of what the Destroyer is trying to model itself after.
he
If you see
created
the like Halo
Destroyer
ones.
stamp. That's
First grade.
that's definitely what the Destroyer is. It's like a Gundam
Yeah,
inspired
that's
character for
that's
sure.
what they've pivoted towards. Anyways, yeah, Grant, I'm excited for your answers, being the newest member of Funsie.
Well, it's kind of similar to yours, because I was like super quiet and super shy growing up, and I don't know if any of you guys know this or what you're gonna say, but I was homeschooled basically my whole life.
Boo!
And, like, not even
Just
not
kidding.
even like any sort of like co-op where I was like in school with other kids like at all up until high school. So I played like
Things
sports.
are starting to add up.
Yeah, I hate you.
I'm just kidding.
I played sports, so like that was like my social interaction for the most part. Like there was like some other stuff, but yeah, I was super shy, and I was also the third of 3 siblings. So I don't know, Sajko, if like what your sibling thing is, but I heard somebody say that the baby is always the comedian, and I'm definitely the comedian, like in my family and in my circles for the most part. Are you the youngest, or?
No, I'm the oldest. So
See, that's weird. I don't know how that works. But
and I'm the middle child.
Oldest
so-
gang.
There you go.
You got middle child energy, Ben.
Yes, there you go. I won. I never have lost the class clown race. Like,
Mhm.
and when we did, it's like superlatives or something. I can never say the word.
superlatives?
Yeah, boy.
Superlatives. Yeah, like literally how our school did it, and I imagine this is how all schools do it. You just like write in someone's name who you think in each category. It isn't like I campaigned for it, so or anything like that. So it was in 8th grade, and then because when you graduate 8th grade, you get that's like your big yearbook, and then senior year. So I won class clown both times without just because of my grade. Thought I was the funniest person in the class. So
I
there
could
you go.
definitely see that.
I mean, that was the same deal. Like I was class clown, but I was like shy. So it was this really weird combination of being, I liked the attention of being funny, but any other version of attention, I would get all red. I hated it. I didn't want people to like even acknowledge that I exist, even though deep down, I also did want people to acknowledge that I existed. It's like a really weird combination that I probably should tackle at some point in some sort of professional room.
I was gonna say,
Yeah, I was like, should we all just be going to therapy? Is this our therapy? Is this our
Zach,
therapy session?
We've always
Do you
talked
get-
about this as therapy.
Do you get weird if or in those moments when you did something funny and you wanted the attention and you got it, but then like the attention stayed on you for too long?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like don't really know how to acknowledge it. I've gotten way
Yeah.
better, and I remember talking about this early on in Funsie of just like being on a podcast where you have to talk and being in a job where you are interacting with all these people. It forces you to do that. So it's like everything in my life up to this point has pretty much like I have to fight with every fiber of my being to like be outwardly being able to like go talk to people, and it's taken so much time. But now I would consider myself like even in my own family like probably the most talkative and outgoing in a lot of regards. And I'm glad that I did that because that's just not a healthy way to live, of just like averting your eyes from people. But then you're like, man, why does no one want to talk to me? It's like, dude, it's your own fault. Like, why are you making this so difficult?
I have like the same exact story as you because I'm like the same way now. Like in a lot of relationships, I'm like the one that talks the most, and like a lot of people see me as outgoing, even though like a ton of my life was like just being terrified to talk to anyone. And so I don't know if you're like this now, but it's like you kind of just have like days or times where you're like deciding to be outgoing or like talk to whoever, and then other days where you're just like, I can't talk to anybody, or I'm not going to talk to anybody.
100%. 100%. And I've always been very to myself in a lot of things. Like I valued being able to have me time, whereas someone like my wife and her family, me time does not exist. It's always about the collective experience with everyone. And that's why I think, now that I think about it, that's probably where a lot of that actually started, because her family is the one that got me into disc golf, and like being forced to be a part of the entire collective experience instead of like, you can't just run away and get like, what, you're just going to like go to your room and hide? Like, no, you're going to hang out with everyone. Anyways, I guess while we're on that topic, is there like a key childhood moment that you guys have or that you can think of that you feel like shaped who you are today? Because talking about it right now, I remember every single day my dad would be like, what are you doing tomorrow? And at the time, like I was so young, I'd be like, oh, what am I doing tomorrow? I mean, I'm like 5 years old. Like what actually would I
do tomorrow?
Yeah, he's like, what are you doing tomorrow? And I'm like, oh, there'd be like a deep set anxiety, I guess, about that, to be like, man, I gotta figure out what I'm doing.
I'm mowing the yard.
Get a job, boy.
I guess for me, kind of like defining. I always grew up with like church, like even when I was like my parents, like when I was like one, like I've grown up in church, so I think that has like kind of just helped me a lot. Just have that like sense of community, if that makes sense. Like you know, I've grown up with these people. I see them because I feel like church is one of the only places where like the same people you'll see for the rest of your life. Like I know there's school, but then like after high school you don't talk to, and then I guess when you get in your profession, but like if one of us left disc golf, obviously we'd keep up with each other, but like if it was like completely like, all right guys, I have a new career, it'd definitely be like, I don't think we'd be seeing each other as much. But I think church is like one of those things that you see the same people every Sunday. Like I have aunts that aren't even my aunts. So I guess for me, it's kind of, that has been pretty a defining thing of just like, you know, having that support system all throughout my life has been pretty impactful in a good way, because people will, you know, check in on me, support me, congratulate me, and yeah. So
Did you say like specifically like childhood? Because like
yeah, I think so.
oh, okay, well, I don't know. I consider myself a child in college, so I'm going to say something from college.
I think that's valid.
Undeveloped brain, so yeah.
Yeah, coming into my like junior year, I just like, there was a moment where me and this girl broke up, and I remember she like asked to meet up after we had broke up, and she pretty much just like, hey, here's a list of every single thing you did wrong in our relationship, and like, well, and then yeah,
You're
like
too short.
how you can be better and how you can improve for your next girlfriend. And I remember my instant reaction was just like defensive. Kind of after it happened, I was like, well, like obviously I should probably listen to all of these things and, you know, implement them for the next time I'm in a relationship. And it just made me think about how I act more than I really ever had. And it was really at that moment when I started to truly be introspective versus just like almost just like existing. Like I had never really analyzed why something would upset me, you know? I'd just be upset rather than being like, wait, why am I upset that this person did that thing? You know, like like they'd ask me and I'd be like, yeah, you did this and that upset me. But I wouldn't understand in myself what my true issue was with it and, you know, the role I played in being upset. And so like that moment is like kind of the pivot point in my life where honestly things started going much better because like I began to have a healthier relationship with myself, because instead of kind of almost just existing, it's like, oh, I really enjoy doing disc golf and doing content for these specific reasons rather than like being motivated by the wrong reasons. Like I had always been interested in being, you know, for lack of a better term, famous. And so like in high school, I made a Twitter and I tried to get Twitter famous. In early college, I made a TikTok and I tried to get TikTok famous. But then at this moment, when I was like a junior in college, I was like, wow, the only reason I was doing that is because I wanted to like have validation through being famous. And so when I started my YouTube in 2023, my motivation was a creative motivation more than anything, you know, like I think it's impossible to remove the validation that can be received through people recognizing you for your work. And like, I think it's still easy. Like, I think sometimes I still get swept up in the idea of being famous. But at the end of the day, I wanted my primary motivation to be the creative process of making YouTube videos and getting outside and playing disc golf. And I think that I wouldn't have been able to do that if I hadn't turned into a more introspective person. So for me, that's a really big turning point. And it's so funny because I bet the girl who absolutely flamed me has no clue that she had that kind of impact on my life.
You should send her a DM and tell her.
You should
I
thank
will
her.
not be doing that.
Yeah, I was going to say, I feel that'd be weird.
Probably like, yeah, in college as well. I mean, I like Ben, I grew up in the church, but I was like going to different churches throughout my life. But I was kind of like a rebel for the most part. Like everyone in my family just seemed like goody-goody, and I was like, I want to like have fun, and so I'm just gonna like do whatever I want, and I'm just not gonna worry about this for the most part. And in college, or I guess a little bit after college, I would say I actually gave my life to Christ, and there was like a huge mindset change. And honestly, like the being shy and like afraid to talk to people, to me, I just came to this realization that like it was basically being selfish in my mind. Some people like agree with me on this, other people are like, I don't know what you're talking about. But it's almost like, okay, if I think about myself less and think about like the person I'm going to interact with more and like try and care about them, then like it takes the pressure off of me to like perform or not be awkward or weird or whatever, which is what I was like terrified of.
Yeah.
And so that mindset change over like the next few years just like pretty much completely changed who I am as a person. Like I didn't meet my wife until after that, and like I'll tell her things about like before meeting her and whatnot. Yeah, and she's like I'll tell her we go to like an event or something, and she's like I need you to be social, or I need you to be like this and that and the other, and like I'll tell her like sometimes I get social anxiety and whatnot, and she's like, what are you talking about? Like, you're a super social person, like this is like weird. So I had to like explain to her as we like got into a relationship that like from my past there was like parts of me that like was super shy, like didn't want to talk to anybody, and sometimes I have to like pull the extroverted side out. But yeah, I would say that's the biggest change for me.
Yeah, I relate to that a lot because, I mean, I was shy in elementary school. I wasn't shy in junior high. I was really shy early high school, and then I wasn't shy again. And something I realized was just like, I was shy just because of I was worried about how I was perceived and received. And like you said, you were shy because it kind of felt like selfish. And that's a similar, I don't think, that's probably not how it is for everyone, but for me, it was like, it was selfish motivation. I wasn't acting, honestly, how I wanted to act or the person I wanted to be because I was like, oh, like, how will this be received? And now I'm just, unfortunately, sometimes too much, I'm just like, whatever, this is who I am, take it or leave it. Like, I'm not worried about coming off as cool, like, I'm not worried about how people receive me, which, like I said, sometimes comes off incorrectly and I say stupid stuff. But, like, I think that it just leads to a much more enjoyable life when you're not second guessing every single thing you're doing and worrying about how people perceive you.
What did disc golf give you that regular life didn't? My go-to thing was playing in like hardcore bands and metalcore bands. And as much as I loved the creative process of doing that, the entire life of being someone that's in a band is being crammed in a van with 5 dudes, and you don't get to come out until nighttime, and you're in the middle of a major city, and then you perform for 30 minutes, and then you load everything back up, and you drive at night again, and you don't wake up until 10 a.m. the next day. And that doesn't really lead to a healthy mindset, or like you don't feel good about yourself usually. Like you probably deal with some mental health issues. So being in disc golf, you're able to go out in the woods, like some of the most beautiful places on earth, and you can kind of do it whenever you want to. And I think that's really what I love about it and why I wanted to get involved with it, because you can have a creative outlet. Like obviously people don't have to do that aspect of it but for myself, having a creative outlet to be able to enjoy the outdoors has been huge.
Yeah, for me, it was initially just like a community thing. Like my friends were playing disc golf. I like hanging out with my friends. I get a lot of energy from being with people. And so like all my roommates were like, oh, we're going to go play disc golf. And I was like, well, I don't want to do my homework, so I'll come play disc golf with you guys. And pretty quickly, it turned from like, I've always been a very competitive person. And so it's like anytime we were playing, I was like, I want to beat these guys. And so we would be competitive and I'd enjoy it. And then I go home and forget about it until the next time they wanted to play disc golf. But then at some point it was like, oh, last time I played here, I shot 3 down. I want to beat that. And so that's when it really turned into like a personal process and like a personal growth disc golf journey. I don't know. But that was kind of what disc golf gave me, was like I loved playing sports when I was younger. But like I already told you guys, like I was too short to play like football in high school. Like I loved being a wide receiver all my life, but like, you can't be sub 5 foot playing high school football. Like I literally,
especially in Texas,
I would have been hospitalized. I literally would have been hospitalized. And so like couldn't do that. I was always just very mediocre at basketball. It just wasn't something I was passionate about. I did baseball for a little bit, but it just like, well, I don't know, like it just didn't make sense. And so like being someone who was super competitive but didn't really scratch the itch of like a high school sport, getting into disc golf was that itch being scratched, because like I didn't need to have like a full team of people that could play with me. You know, like I played a bunch of spike ball in college. If you guys know what spike ball is, I played a ton of like sand volleyball. But all of those things, it's like you got to kind of coordinate 4 people, 8 people to get out there and play. But disc golf is like, yeah, you could have 4 people, and like honestly, that's my ideal scenario. But if I needed to go play by myself, I could go play by myself, and I think that's one of the best aspects of disc golf for sure.
For me, it's definitely like mainly a community thing. Like I rarely go by myself. I'm trying to get into that more just for like practice purposes and whatnot, because I find it's like easier for me to work on stuff if I'm by myself. But yeah, I mean, I just love going with like groups of people, like my friends, or like meeting new people, or like, I mean, yesterday I played with too many people. Like that's like my favorite thing is when like a lot of people don't like it, but when you have like a huge group, so you're just playing really slow and like, you know, it's all different skill levels, whatever. Like I love that. It's just like so fun, just like a group of people who love playing, especially when everyone's like encouraging and nobody's taking it too seriously and whatnot. That's like my favorite thing. But I mean, yeah, I would also agree with the other points that Josh and you, Sajko, made.
I don't know. For me, I feel like disc golf has literally given me everything in the physical aspect that I would have ever wanted in this life. Like I'm just so content and happy with my life because of disc golf, because it's like I get to play this sport and play it pretty competitively. Obviously, I'm trying to get better, but it's just so cool how the barrier to entry is lower to get like really good. Meaning, like, you know, you could still be a really good, solid pro and still, like, you know, have a fulfilling career and kind of have a legendary career, which is always so like alluring to me. Like, you don't even have to go on the pro tour and still just be like you know, run your local circuit and
Joe Revere.
Yeah, exactly, and be well at it, which is like the coolest thing ever. I can't even think of another sport that's like that. Like, I know golf has amateur, but I don't know. Anyways, but even the competitive side is like, you know, like a smaller part of like what I'm super grateful for. The biggest part is, yeah, just like how much it's changed my life in the past 5 years now, from going to not even playing disc golf at all to doing like having to be my full-time career is just insane. I don't know. It's kind of hard to put into words, but I'm sure if you're listening to this, you can kind of feel what I'm trying to say. It's just like, you know, being part of a sport that you love so much and that you want to be a part of, and then having the community allow you to do that is just the coolest thing. And then just being on tour is just, there's so much for me to be, I mean, everyone here to be grateful for, but I'm just saying, like, for me specifically, there's so much that I can think of that is just like absolutely insane how it all fell into order and how I'm doing what I'm doing and absolutely loving it. I'm getting literally paid to hang out with the number one player in the world. Like I'm laughing because it just doesn't make any sense. And then just doing my expos is just like, I couldn't think of a job I'd want more, other than like just being a Twitch streamer that does Minecraft. But like you know what I'm trying to say. I'm just joking, but like those guys seem like they have the best jobs ever. It's just, they just play video games all day. But yeah, and the expo just, I don't know, just like it's such an amazing film job, and it's the first job that I've had where I've felt like you know, I don't know, where I felt like motivation to like make it better, and it's not a motivation in the sense like, I have to do this. It's in the motivation sense of like, you know, like, all right, like, let's go. Like, I'm excited. Like let's do this now. Let's do this, and organizing everything. And never really feels like work. It's just like feels like, you know, something I'm just passionate about and doing. So I could go on and on and on and on and on and on. But yeah, I guess just super grateful for the fans and the community. Disc golf is literally the coolest sport. There's so much going for it. That's why when people say disc golf is dying, it's like I don't know. I highly disagree. I think it's plateauing right now, but I think in the future it's gonna keep. It's just so unique. There's so many things I can point out that make it just such a cool, unique sport, and it has such a launch pad to just keep growing and keep getting like more and more mainstream. I don't think it'll ever be like the biggest sport ever, but I mean, it's a new sport and it's already like paying people millions of dollars. Like you know, bowling's been around forever, and like I feel like there's a new documentary, and I feel like even they are kind of like at the same level. I don't know what I'm trying to say there. Honestly, I'm not even gonna say it, but and there's a new documentary. Go watch it. It's about how like they're kind of like, you know, struggling because they bowl full time. So it's kind of the same, obviously, with disc, unless you're at the top. But it's just cool to see how like disc golf, there's like people getting paid millions of dollars. Bowling was a terrible example. I don't know. Another niche, weird sport that
Darts.
they get paid a ton, bro. That's even more popular.
I
don't
thought
know.
you called them dorks at first and didn't say darts. It's like, come on, Brant.
Anyways,
Come on,
disregard my bowling statement. Retract. But I think it's pretty similar because about like kind of like that lifestyle of like kind of grinding to the top, and then if you're mid tier, you're kind of just trying to survive. So
I think all three of you have lives right now that a lot of people envy. Like if you just had like a list of, or like a room full of people that like would be like, yeah, I'd love to live Sajko's life, or I'd love to live Ben's life, or like, you know, have the opportunities that he has or whatever. I mean, it'd be so many people. Same with Josh, obviously.
well, here's the thing, and this is a great thing. How I was saying how there's so many good things going for disc golf. If you're like if you watch this podcast, you're like, oh, I want to do what they're doing so badly. Disc golf has so much opportunity. I think it's so one of the easiest things to let me see how I can word this. It's one of the easiest sports to like I guess really get into the community early and grow from there. So it's like if you want to be a content creator, like you can just start tomorrow and post for a month, and you'll have like another round commenting on your videos, you know, like stuff like that, or Jay Millie if it becomes viral, like where it's like it's already. I'm not saying you only comment on. I'm just saying if it's like you guys aren't just randomly gonna see like the most obscure video, but I'm saying I see a lot of like, you know, when disc golf does go viral, it seems like every single disc golf. Viral in the sense of like maybe like 10, 20,000 views. Not like crazy viral, but every single disc golfer ever sees it. So I think like it's one of the easiest sports to, and it has so much opportunity. When we've talked about this, there's so much opportunity in the sport that you could literally do whatever you wanted to if you just go for it, whether that's being a creator, starting a business. I think it's one of the hardest sports to get paid in, personally, like. But if you want to be a part of the community and grow, I think there's just so much paid in the sense of like you're not a player. That's what I meant. Like if you're just like trying to do what we're doing.
I also just think that like it should be an encouragement to anyone listening that wants to break into this space that literally Sajko and I were both not doing it full time when we started this podcast. Like Sajko didn't even work at Another Round when we started this podcast.
That's fact.
No.
And now he lives in Charlotte and is the full-time editor, catch-all, Another Round guy. And like me, I was working a full-time job, and now I work a full-time job as a YouTuber. You know, so like we made it happen. You know, make it happen if you're looking to get into it. So
like if you actually put your mind to it, I find it very hard to not be successful in disc golf at this point. There's just like I said, there's so much opportunity. It's not like the NBA where there's like 50,000 like fan Twitter accounts or fan pages or like, you know, where it's like if you work in disc golf even corporately, like you're known. It's like it's so strange. Whereas like maybe the NBA, you could be high up, but like, you know, you're not really part of that community in the sense that like disc golf where like everyone puts you in that community. I don't know. I love disc golf.
I also think it's worth noting that you don't have to be the absolute best to get into disc golf. Like you just have to be. Yep. You have to be consistent. People have to like who you are, or at least get the idea of they like who you are through your content until they meet you. And that's pretty much. Just keep doing that, and you would be surprised how far you can go in disc golf for sure. You should always try to do your best, of course, but that'll come over time. Like if you're thinking in the sense of, I gotta wait, I gotta make it as perfectly as ideal as it can be until I like actually don't do any of that. Just it's like this podcast pretty much. Do you remember how bad it was starting out? And we still have our issues every now and again, so but it's come a long way. Just figure it out along the way.
Exactly. I mean, look at the Creators Cup. They had like creators like Foundation, one of the biggest channels in disc golf, and they had some creators that I'd say are probably within the last year, and then some creators that were smaller, and they were filming on the largest platform ever. Like anyone, and this is just creator wise, I'm just saying, but like anyone could do that. Like like there's so much opportunity. You never know when Foundation is just gonna be like, yo, hop in a video, and you don't even have to have like 100,000 subscribers. It's just so cool.
Rip Disc Golf was literally, they started in January.
Yeah, that too.
Exactly.
Like if you put effort and thought and do something unique-ish, then you'll be good.
I mean, literally, yeah. Like the best encouragement should be like they started in January, and they are probably the second or third most subscribed YouTube channel.
Yeah, they have 200,000
period.
Yep.
I mean, bro, like Witt's probably going to be the guy that gets picked to go to the Creator Challenge. So that's all in a year. That's crazy. Good for him.
I voted for G-Star. Let it be known.
Game.
I didn't vote, but if I did, it would have been G-Star. But I love Witt. Witt's actually my boy.
Wait, why didn't you vote?
I don't know. I just kind of was looking. I think I just looked at the link and the contestants, and then I was like, "What is this?" I didn't really know. I didn't really know what was happening, but I was like, "Oh, it's for the Creators Cup. Okay, cool." And then I just didn't vote. All right, I'll go vote. I'll go vote right now. Exercise your rights to vote too. We're learning so much today.
On the
I'll give some advice too, since y'all kind of just did. As the small creator, I saw a comment the other day that was like, why does this Grant guy keep showing up in things?
You're a perfect example, honestly, with what I was just saying. Yeah,
exactly. And so my tip, and why I think I do show up in things, is to build relationships. Like anytime you get opportunities to like, you know, meet people in the disc golf space or hang out with people or be like, you know, on one of these cool event things like Creator Cup or whatever it is, like just get to know people, like care about people, you know.
It also just doesn't hurt to ask, you know.
That too. Reach out to people.
Nice.
This is Ben for listeners.
I voted for Grant. There you go. Officially recorded.
What part of Funsie came naturally and what was unnatural in starting the podcast? Grant, you're welcome to answer this or like in your own regard as well, but
I don't know if this is an answer to that question, but I'll say it because it's the 2-year anniversary and I think it's funny. When you guys started this podcast, my honest opinion was like, why would I listen to this podcast? That's true. Like for the first, you know, I don't know, 6 months maybe. I like didn't really listen. Maybe I like listened to like a little clip here and there or something. But I was like, who would listen to this podcast? Like, what are they even talking about? And then it became my favorite podcast, and I got like addicted to it and was listening to like 5 or 6 hours in a row of it on plane rides and whatnot.
That's dedication.
What was your actual question?
Asking what part of starting the podcast came naturally versus unnaturally. I mean, for myself, like I talked about, like being shy and having to force myself to actually be more open and talk about these things. Exactly that. Like being on a podcast, it's based around talking. So you can't exactly hide. I mean, you could, but it'd be like, why is he on the podcast then? There's no point to him being there. I mean, this episode's a perfect example of like coming up with these questions, like thinking ahead, like what's going to be the next episode? What are some questions that I want to ask the guest that's coming on? You know, what is our focus? I think these are all things that never came naturally to me. Like I'm a very go with the flow kind of guy that just over time of now it's pretty much my role in the pod.
You play the role well.
The voice of reason.
The voice
Always.
of reason, baby.
He is the voice of reason.
We love it. Yeah. It's funny. Like, I feel like the unintentionally. I feel like I just picked you guys to co-host just because, like, you know, like for I don't know, you're just I knew you guys and I thought it'd be fun. But I think through that unintentionally, like we kind of all got like I think we combined like the perfect roles of the pod that, like, you know, you need like the voice of reason, you need like Jay Millie kind of giving like the hot takes, and then I don't even know what mine is, just like the color commentator, I guess. I don't really know,
Dude,
But
boots
yeah,
on
so
the
I think-
ground.
yeah, there you go, boots on the ground. So I think unironically we kind of, or unintentionally, we picked kind of that perfect kind of relationship of where everyone fits in and does their role well. For me, I think since I was on Stagger Stance or Nick and Matt show for, I don't know, 2-3 years before Funsie, I think it definitely came a little more natural to me. I think obviously we had to. I just said we picked perfectly, but I also think in the beginning we did have to learn how to like kind of work together, if that makes sense. Like you know, the flow of everything. So I guess that was a little more unnatural because I was always like the intern, so like I knew my role on Stagger Stands, where it was just like, you know, talk like 2 sentences like once in a while if you have something good to say. But here it's like being kind of like on the same level, I had to figure out that kind of like flow, or we all had to figure out the flow of just like, you know, bouncing off each other, which I think was obviously naturally pretty easy, but that's the only thing I can think of that was kind of like at first figured out. But I think we do a great job now.
Wait,
Quick
what?
story.
Oh,
Quick story about Ben that pertains to this. One of the first experiences I ever had of Ben was he was on the In the Bag podcast with Robbie and Brad, yeah. And I listened to the whole podcast, and at the end of their podcast that he was on, he signed off the podcast thinking it was like his podcast.
Oh, yeah.
Like he did a full like, all right guys, that's it for this episode. And then he was like, wait, this is not my podcast.
Yeah.
And I
do
died.
remember that.
It was
yeah,
so funny.
Exactly. It was just ingrained in me. That's so funny. I forgot about that.
I was gonna say I got distracted and I think I missed the question. So can I hear the question again? The part of Funsie that came very natural to me right when we started was talking about content, and I remember that I always wanted to steer the conversation towards content and not like the Disc Golf Pro Tour. And
That too.
Ben did not like that, I feel like, and so we didn't really lean into that for a while. But that's always been like what makes me excited and what I like talking about. But I obviously understand that that's a niche, like kind of what we were talking about last week. It's a niche inside of a niche inside of a niche. So we can't just be the content disc golf podcast, even though I might want to be that. But then the unnatural would be the opposite of that. Like
I watch the Disc Golf Pro Tour and I love talking about it and analyzing it, but like I would just not watch some of the events and like
All of them. You wouldn't watch any of them. But
what's
that's a
funny
good
is
point.
I feel like I watch it more now and we don't
Yeah.
even talk about it that much at all. But I like, I'll put on Disc Golf Pro Tour and just leave it on in the living room, and I know more about it than whenever I needed to know about it.
That's actually a good point though. Like, yeah, of figuring out. Like, I thought, I'm on a sports talk podcast. We have to bring that into Funsie, but then I started realizing, like slowly, like, yeah, like one, like no one's watching it, so no one's really into it. But two, like, yeah, we don't have like. There's so much out there, and I remember Anderson texted you. He's like, you guys should just like. Not, I know Ben wants to talk about the sports side, but like you shouldn't even like, you should just focus on just like other things. And then I thought about it. I was like, yeah, honestly, I'm actually like cool with that. I think that kind of is like what Funsie is all about, and just like us talking about whatever is on our mind, having fun, and not really having that structured like this is what happened, like, because we're not sports. This podcast isn't a sports analysis. So even if people wanted to get our opinion on this stuff, like, we wouldn't do. There's so many other podcasts that would do a better job in the information side. Like, the argument always is, and what we would always say on Nick and Matt's show or Sag Your Stance is, some people want to just listen to us talk about it, but I think, I think there's just too much of it, and I honestly like kind of like how we pivoted, and it was just me kind of like that was just we were just figuring out. So like that was the thing like that. So that's a great example.
As a fan, that is the reason that I got addicted to it, was like the entrepreneurial side of disc golf, like content creation, businesses inside disc golf, like all that sort of stuff.
I'm now realizing I wrote down way too many questions, and we're already at the 52-minute mark.
I mean, Grant, do you have to leave? Like, I'm cool to keep going since it's a 2-year making a special.
I would be down for that for a little bit.
Yeah, I can't go crazy.
I'm not saying 2 hours,
Only
but
like
we
4
can.
hours maybe.
I was like, we could maybe do hour 15. I'm gonna be a little crazy, a little wild.
All right. Next question. What were your first real jobs, and what did they teach you?
Oh, dude, Sajko, you're the man. This is awesome. What do you guys go?
My first real job, I've technically only held 3 jobs ever. I started working at, do you guys know what Brahms is? Any of y'all?
Dude, Brahms was a local thing for me, but it for sure is not what you're talking about.
No, that's Brahms is yeah. I don't think I know what you're talking about, Sajko. It's like ice cream, but Brahms has the best ice cream.
No, Brahms was a local diner in Canterbury, Connecticut, named after the Bromley family. So I promise, it's probably not the same thing. If it is, I'm going to lose my mind.
Brahms is like it's like an ice cream.
It's so the best ice cream I've ever had. Oh my god!
And like a grocery store, all in one, pretty much. And they're pretty much just like homemade, or not homemade. I don't know. Local ice cream. I don't know. It's fire and it's super cheap. Long story short, I started working there in high school when I got my driver's license. I worked there till I was a senior, and it definitely taught me. Well, first of all, it taught me responsibility of like showing up and being there, but then it also just like that. Straight from that, I went into my internship at Lockheed Martin in my senior year, which is where I worked as an intern all through college, and then that was my full-time job until I quit for YouTube, and then I had a part-time job in college. So technically I'm 100% on applying for jobs and getting them. So I've never applied for a job I didn't get. That's a flex. That's a flex.
Hey.
But I don't know. It just, it taught me responsibility, how to show up and get my work done. You know, it's not like you can't show up late. You can't slack on the job. Like when you're working a job, you got to give it your 100%. You
you got to be fully there. And so I think that's what I learned from my first job.
My first job, I was a valet for a wedding venue place in northeastern Connecticut. And that was my first job, 16 years old. My mom, I come home, she's like, yeah, you're getting a job today. I was like, cool, because my friend's mom had an opportunity. So me and two of my other friends all went to the same place and got the job that day. So working that
That's
job
pretty fun.
with my
That
two
sounds
friends,
awesome.
I pretty much learned that work can also be fun. As long as you're working hard and doing your job, there's room for everyone to still be able to joke around and be an idiot as long as you're getting everything done. So that was huge. The other one, all through college, I worked at Dairy Queen, and just horrendous job. It's insane working in fast food. If someone sees you behind a counter with an outfit on, they're like, "Oh, I can treat you poorly now, and that's okay." It's kind of sad, but there was an aspect. There were people there, and they actively talked about. They're like, "I hate it here. I don't want to be here." But they worked there for like 20 years, and hearing that aspect of the job scared me, honestly, because I was going to
that's
school
sad.
in hopes of trying to, set myself up for a decent life. I'm like, I just need to continue working hard, and it really put into perspective, like, I don't know what their situations were, or I do some of them, but it doesn't make sense for me to go into that right now. But just how easily you can get caught up and you're just trying to make ends meet. And it's like, I'm grateful that I have an opportunity to work towards like the next thing. I don't have kids right now. So yeah, that probably helped me a ton, actually, moving forward, of like, okay, let's get after it. Like, I have nothing to lose.
I worked at Food Lion, and it taught me that I didn't want to be a cashier ever again.
You did?
Yeah, it was awful. I applied to Chick-fil-A too at the time. This is back when I was like shy and didn't want to talk to anybody.
Did you see Joe every day of your life at Chick-fil-A, or?
I applied.
Yeah, it doesn't even
And
matter. When you applied, you probably could have seen him too.
He was one of the people that interviewed me.
Dude, I've never... They know his name. They just put it in his order. Anyways, go on. Sorry, Grant.
Joe calls.
So my brother and sister both are older than me, and they worked at Chick-fil-A. And I was like, all right, this is easy peasy. I'm just going to get a job there. They already know my brother and sister. I'm in. And I got a interview, and it was like 5 different people that interviewed me. And the interview, literally it was me and like 5 different people sitting in Chick-fil-A, like all like the higher up people, and they all interviewed just me.
Is this an entry-level position?
Yes.
No, dude, Chick-fil-A.
I keep telling people about this, and people don't
Yeah.
believe me, but this is like actually what
I
happened.
believe it, bro.
Yeah, it was crazy. And one of the final questions they asked was, if you could be any sauce here, which sauce would you be?
The real
At
question.
the time, I didn't put sauce on anything, so I was just like, I don't
Okay,
eat
Grant.
sauce. Yeah, so they didn't hire me, and then
That was your answer? I don't eat sauce?
I eventually went with one. I can't remember which
Yes,
one.
serial
but,
killer activity.
But they didn't hire me, and then I worked at Food Lion, and my boss one time, literally in front of like someone I was checking out, was like yelling at me, and he was like, "You need to be more polite, this, that, and the other." He was like, "They wouldn't hire you at Chick-fil-A," and I was like, "You're right."
That one
Ouch.
hit really deep.
That hit hard, yeah. That
Yeah.
hit deep.
So that's my life.
One time at Brahms, like my first week there, I made someone a banana split and I gave it to them. And unfortunately for this fella, they did not have their wits about them. I guess maybe fortunately for him, he probably did it intentionally, but he was not fully there. And he's like, "Oh, I want to tip you," and he gave me a $20 tip. And I was like 16, so I didn't know the policy for this, and I didn't want to do anything wrong. So I went up to my manager and I was like, "Hey, this guy just gave me this like tip. Can I keep this?" And he was like, "No, you can't keep it," and then put it in his pocket. And I figured out later that he just kept it.
That's crazy.
What a butthole.
Yeah.
That's fast
That's
food for
crazy.
you.
So my first job ever, which is, I guess I'll I'll start. I guess I have two first jobs ever. My first job ever, I started a lawn mowing company called Lawn Mowing USA. So I've always been just naturally kind of an entrepreneur. I don't know why. It's just how my brain works. But yeah, I think like sophomore year of high school, Lawn Mowing USA started, posted in my local group, and started taking on clients and mowing lawns and doing landscaping, managing employees. But it was, 16, 15. It was so discombobulated. I didn't even like it. I found out I didn't even like doing like landscaping and mowing lawns and stuff like that. And then just managing employees was just like, I don't know, when your employees are your friends, 15-year-olds, it's kind of, but I did have a few like awesome people that, would, like, looking back, like showed up and like did the best job they could as a 15-year-old and helped me out, which was really cool to actually thinking back how like just willing they were to help me out. Because dude, my rates, like I was too afraid to ask for like money, so like I would just say yes to everything. And like senior citizens, I would do their whole lawn for like 4 hours and there would be like, here's $20, and I'd be like, thank you. And it'd be me and my friend, and so we had to split $10 or $20. So yeah, that was just like a huge learning curve and stuff like that. It's funny, one of my friends put on his resume, like in college, Lawn Mowing USA, as if it was a real company. It's just so funny, which is so great. But when you're in college, you have no experience basically, so you got to kind of like scrounge up whatever you can. But yeah, that was honestly just really cool and fun. So, but then after I realized I didn't really enjoy doing that, also side tangent, I kept only one client, because he paid me the most, $80 to do his lawn. It took like 2 hours to do his lawn, and I kept him for like 8 years. I literally stopped mowing his lawn 2 years ago because I just had my tackle store, all the disc golf stuff, and I was like, I can't do this anymore. I'm sorry. But, dude, I literally kept one client from Lawn Mowing USA for 8 years.
That's amazing.
Yeah, because, I don't know. I just felt like I owed him. Then my first actual job was a pizza delivery guy for the local pizza store called Good Guys, which was honestly just like you're talking about, Sajko, how you work with your friends. It was just like such a fun job to have in high school, because one, you're like working after school, so it's like in a few hours, it's nothing insane, but you're just literally like fooling around with your friends when you're there, and then when you're out, you're just literally driving your car, listening to music. Like, so that was also just like a really fun, cool job. The boss I had wasn't a great guy, honestly, like a pretty bad guy, pretty terrible guy. But like looking back on it, but like one time this is crazy. I don't even know why I'm saying this. One time, me being like 17, 18, we were just kidding around, and he was like, bro, let me punch you as hard as I can.
That's just...
And I let him in my arm. He punched me so hard, and it turned like yellow, blue. It was like massive. And my mom was so pissed and stuff like that. Like, she's like, why would your boss do something like that? And I was like, I don't know. I just kind of I kind of just let him punch me for some reason. I literally, from what I recall, it was just like there's no other reason. It wasn't like he was angry at me. I think he literally just like asked to punch me as hard as he could for some reason. Somehow it came up, and me being like, young, it's like, yeah, I'm tough. Like, yeah, like do it. And so bro, I didn't report him or anything or anything like that. It was just like guys being dudes. But I was like, Mom, just don't say anything. It's okay. But yeah, but looking back on it, it was just like, bro, who was I working for? But I will say, just the job was really fun, and yeah.
Dude, the boss that my brother and sister had at Chick-fil-A, he would have people, because they do fresh squeezed lemonade. Whoever squeezed the lemons for the lemonade, he would come in after them, and he would get the squeezed lemons that they already squeezed, and he would squeeze them harder over their head, basically to be like, if you didn't get all the lemon juice out, you're getting lemon juice on your head.
That's what I'm saying.
That's like he owned like 2 Chick-fil-A locations, and he was doing that.
See,
Yeah,
everyone,
man.
you don't have to be a
it was
good
a different
person.
time. It was a different time. I guess it
Yeah.
was more. But yeah, I have so many stories about what that boss did, but that isn't safe for Funsie.
So anyone that gets into this space, it's pretty much undeniable that you'll have to deal with it at some point, and it's probably holds some people back from even getting into it. But how does each of us deal with criticism?
For me, I've been pretty good about criticism, but with the Creator Cup, I definitely there was a lot of criticism for me, and so it like I mentioned, like it turned me to be a little bit more introspective about where I was placing my value in myself and in my content. And so, like, specifically with how much criticism I received from the Creator Cup, I had to do a little analysis of where my value was being found. And I was like, wow, I'm placing too much value in this. And so I appreciate that a lot for being flamed. But for the most part, it's just kind of like ignoring, like I know who I am. Like I already mentioned in the podcast, I have my wife and she likes me, and that's kind of all that matters, at least to me. And I have great friends as well, so I'm not really worried about randos on the internet, outside of the fact that, like, unfortunately, they probably lead a pretty sorry life if they're hating on me so hard for being happy, But, also to kind of mention, like last week, I said some things that I definitely could have worded differently. I obviously am very biased. I am a Christian. And so last week, if you listen to the podcast, I said some stuff about the lines being drawn in the sand between people who were supporting KK and people who were supporting Foundation. And I was trying to kind of play into the stereotype that I've heard a lot in disc golf, that is like youth groupies and hippies, but I said it in a very derogatory way towards non-Christians, and I recognize that, and I'm really sorry. That's not how I feel. I love non-Christians. Like, I love hanging out with people who aren't like me, and like I don't look down on anyone that's not like me, and so I am sorry for everyone that I offended with my comments. Those were obviously not my intentions, and I apologize. So I also don't, like, I mentioned it on this podcast earlier, like sometimes me just like spewing and being dumb and just talking leads me into situations like that, and so I come off the wrong way. So apologies, everybody. Hopefully I didn't rub you the wrong way.
And I'm sure there are also people, like, now that we're on this topic, I'm sure there are people that knew what you were trying to say in that scenario. Looking back on it, I knew what you were trying to say, even if you didn't say it exactly. I'm imagining how you intended. Like, afterwards in the pod, I was like, remember that part where Jay Millie said X, Y, and Z to the boys? But yeah, I think
we were
important
dying laughing.
important to address it and clear the air, just to give your real thoughts on it and know that that's not what you're trying to say. Back on the part of criticism, I feel like the best way to deal with criticism is strictly exposure therapy. There's really no way. Josh says that he kind of ignores it. I don't feel like I ignore it. I look through pretty much all the comments, and I feel like there's something to be said about who the comment is coming from. Like, if it's coming from noteworthy people or people that you respect, you should probably acknowledge that and analyze or ask why. I feel like there's another one. There's for sure another one that I had.
I just want to. I'll say something real quick, kind of going off your point. When I say ignore, I don't mean just like don't read the comments. I mean, if you can't tell from listening to the pod and what I just said, like, I read a lot of comments. Pretty much every comment on my video I at least see, and then most of the videos I'm in, I like to see what people's reactions are to me.
Yeah.
Like I said, probably unfortunately to an unhealthy degree, at least these last few videos I've been in. And so like for the most part, when I do have hateful comments, it's similar to what you said, like, oh, is this hateful comment from some rando or is it from Broderick? And then if it's from Broderick, it's like, well, I'm going to text Broderick and see what his actual thoughts are and have him tell me how I can make a better video next time. You know, like, I think that you have, like you said, you have to recognize who the comment is from, because there has been a lot of constructive criticism from people on my videos. Like, honestly, something that I've been trying to implement more is like, I get a lot of comments that are just like, you have too many sound effects. And I agree with that. Like, when I'm in the depth of an edit, like sometimes I'm spending like an hour on like a 2-minute clip. And so like, I'll put in a ton of sound effects for a 2-minute clip and it doesn't sound like a lot. But when I do that for an entire 20-minute video, it's just a lot of sound effects or a lot of little
Bing, click,
ping or click or yeah, all that stuff. And so like, I've been trying to do that less because yeah, I don't want it to be just like sensory overload. Like, I think there is value to having some sort of sound effect assigned and there's funny times to do it. But yeah, if I'm just doing it, spamming it, like it's just not useful, you know? Like, this wasn't really like criticism I got in my comments, but like I kind of stopped doing a lot of like text on the screen and no one noticed me stopping that. And I was like, bro, I just saved 10 hours of editing because I don't do that anymore. And it seems like no one cared in the first place. So yeah, like it's just like understanding the people that have value for hating versus don't have any value for hating, I think is kind of what you're saying, Sajko. And I think that's kind of my view as well.
Yeah. My other point was like, if a lot of people are trying to say something, like if they're in the comments and they're all saying the same thing, it's probably like, yeah, I should probably acknowledge that then. It's not just one-off random comment. On the topic though, Josh, if you have people that are like, why do you have so many sound effects? Does it ever like annoy you a little bit where it's like, dude, I'm putting all this time into putting in these sound effects that some people are annoyed by? Like, do you kind of grapple with that?
The feeling I have is like, I'll also get a lot of comments sometimes that are like, why do you put in all the memes? I don't like the memes. And for those, it's just like, the memes are who I am, you know, like I'm leaving those in. Like, that's what I think is funny. And I think there's a demographic in disc golf and in my audience that's like, these are hilarious. And then I'm gonna get, you know, people that are outside of my demographic, perhaps a little bit older, that just think they're the stupidest thing in the world. And in my opinion, probably for the most part, and most of that demographic just ignores them, you know, or sees them and is like, okay, you know, like I don't find that funny, but like it's really not, in my opinion, detracting from the video. So that's a comment that I just ignore. I'm like, you're just looking for something to be annoyed by. But when it comes to the sound effects, like maybe at first I was like, I'm putting so much effort into it and it's just like not hitting how I hoped it did. But like, especially if it's like sometimes I'll put a video together and be like, I put too many sound effects into it, and then someone comments, oh yeah, you put too many sound effects into it, and that's when I know like it's just a valid criticism of myself I have in my own head. Like that's when a hateful comment gets me the most, is like that's when it messes me up, is when it's like I post a video and I'm like, that was too quick paced, and then I get like a comment that's like, this was too quick paced, I couldn't watch it. I'm like, I get fried, you know, because it was already something that was in my head, and then someone says it. Like, I think last year I posted a video about me trying to qualify for a Pro Tour event, and I remember thinking like, I played so bad, like this, like no one's gonna like this because I played so bad. And like pretty early on in the video, someone was like, how could you think you could qualify? You played so bad. And I was just like, I suck at disc golf. Like, why did I post this? Like, I played so bad. But then I was like, well, you know, like that was one I had to grapple with, because I was like, well, people want to see my journey from, you know, like when I first started posting, I was MA2, you know, I was fringe MA3, and now like I'm in MPO kind of, you know, like fringe MPO. And so like showing where I'm at, showing the journey is valuable. Like sometimes, yeah, it sucks to post a 950 rated round, but like that's part of my progression as a professional, so I have to be okay with it. And now I've rambled for a bunch, so you guys can talk and I will mute my mic.
I feel like for every one of those people that comment and say that specific thing that they don't like that you did, even if it's sound effects, like playing bad, whatever it is, there's like 500 people who watched it and didn't comment anything because they just enjoyed the video and it like kept their attention. And
That's everything in general. Yeah, the silent, it's the hate comments are always going to be the vocal minority. The silent majority is always the positive.
yeah, so I feel like there's some stuff that's like you might read into a comment and be like, oh, I should fix that next time. But I bet you there's a bunch of people that like watch the video because, you know, you had a sound effect every 2 seconds. Honestly, your audience is probably such a wide span from young to old that there's just always going to be some comments, and I bet you it's always the older people that don't like the young style that you have. And part of me thinks that that's why you're getting a little more hate from the Creator Cup, because it's foundation based, and I think they have an older audience than you. And so like younger people just enjoy your style more than some of these older people. That's just my opinion. Maybe I'm wrong.
I mean, I'm definitely like, well, yeah, like I'll just spam, like I pretty much just spam emotes sometimes, and like I'm not playing it up for the camera, like I just am dumb, you know, and it's not for everyone, especially like an older demographic who probably just prefer like a Paul Macbeth who's kind of more level-headed and like locked in. I also think it was just like, I feel like a Creator Cup is like implying professionalism, you know, and like it's just implying like a really well produced, a really high level of play. Like the golf creator thing, like all of those people are really, really good golfers. And so I feel like people came in with expectations of like a highly produced thing, really good disc golf, and it was just unfortunately a little bit set up for failure because it wasn't highly produced, like nearly at all. And then it's not very good disc golfers. And then so like already in people's minds it's missing on those two things. So it's just like there's a negative bias towards anything else that happens. And so when there is someone like me who maybe they don't like or don't like how I act or my personality, it's like so much easier to just be like, I'm already negatively biased towards this thing, and that guy just made a stupid joke, like I'm gonna hate on this guy. So that's kind of what it's been chalked up to.
Well, I think it's funny because I was thinking about this the other day when I was watching some of the finale. It was funny how we had a whole like 30-minute talk, I don't even know, about the podcast, about like, you know, content creators that do 18 holes and that like, you know, that's not unique or whatever you're saying. And then that was literally the entire creator challenge, which I will say, like, I think that's what I would prefer. I would prefer all the creators to play 18 holes against each other. That's what I would prefer. I wouldn't prefer the challenges or like, I don't even know what I hate the lefty only stuff. Hate's such a strong word. Sorry. But like, I will never click on like a lefty only challenge or we threw tomahawks only. Like I love just seeing play. So I just thought that was a funny juxtaposition. It's how, but that is Foundation's content. They are the kings of playing 18 and they do very well with it. So I was just drawing some parallels. But this is what I was going to say. In the golf content creator cups, and I don't know if this is like, I think everyone who was on the Creator Cup 100% deserved to be on the Creator Cup. But I think, and I think everyone, I think Foundation probably think about this for the future. I feel like the golf Creator Cups, why it's so entertaining, because all the golf content creators are like pretty close to scratch golfers. Am I not wrong?
Yeah.
Is there like anyone that's just like shaking off into the woods every drive? Like not really. So I think that's where maybe unfortunate, like obviously if there's a super big creator that's like not great, then you know you might have to make an exception. But from what I've seen from golf, like, you know, they use the top of the top. You're pretty good at golf if you're like a top content creator getting invited to this stuff. So I think that would help the entertainment value in the future. I don't know.
Here's a question for you guys that I'd be interested to hear your take on. What if like next year there was like a pro side and an am side for the Creator Cup, where like, you know, like Bodanza, Broderick, me, like maybe 950 plus is the line for the like quote unquote pro side. And like even Wit, who would have been considered one of the like invite creators that's not really known, would still be on the pro side. And so like there would still be some guys that are smaller creators that could play on the pro side, and then Hunter would play with us for the foundation personality. And so there's one video that's the pro side of the Creator Cup, and then there's the am side, which is, you know, anyone that's 950 and below, and like maybe Connor plays with them, or Silas, or someone on the foundation team that I would consider more of an am, which I think they would consider themselves more of an am as well. And that way it would set the precedent for what is to be expected. Because like I just feel like a lot of the issues with the Creator Cup is people had expectations of it that weren't met because Foundation didn't do a very good job of setting expectations at the beginning of the video. Like I think that, hey, here's what this is intended to be. Like they kind of did it, but like I think there should have been graphics. I think that there should have just been the Creator Cup logo and a couple lines of text. And I feel like that's so easily, I mean, for me, like heck, I could have made that, you know, and done it in 5 minutes, and I think it would have helped make people receive the videos much better, because I think people came in with those two expectations I said earlier about professionalism and just like good disc golf being played, and that's not what happened. And so they're just automatically negatively biased towards it. And so like maybe by having a am side and a pro side, there could be a professionalism side where it's like on the pro side we're like taking it serious and there's no trash talk and we're like grinding, and you know the appeal to that could be like, in a professional setting, does Jay Millie beat Bodanza, or does Broderick beat Hunter, or you know, like stuff like that. And then on the am side, it's like maybe that's where the challenges are, or the razzing, or more of the like dumb trash talking or whatever. You know, what do you guys think of that? Is it stupid?
Like, I think I will say like I haven't watched much of Creators, but I know all the criticism. I will say like Foundation going out there and sticking their necks out to do it, like kudos to them, because it's the first year. So and we all know this, like they're gonna learn from this. It's super hard to know exactly when you're just going in blind what needs to happen. Like it's just like this first year was always going to be the worst year, just off the basis of they're gonna learn. That's with everything. Like me with the X, my first year was the worst year, but and then you know, you just keep growing from there. So kudos to them. I think, like, you know, for them taking that risk, I think, you know, they'll be heavily rewarded in the future for having their space as the Creator Cup. So, but yeah, I think that personally to me was the biggest thing, is like, I think people will just want to see good disc golf being played at the end of the day, regardless of the personality. I saw on the finale, I saw so many comments about Wit being like nasty, or Andrew putting. You know, I don't think people were commenting that because Wit had 200,000 subscribers, or even knew. Most people didn't even know about Wit, I'd imagine, because they're like, this Wit guy, he's nasty. So I think that was the biggest thing. I personally, I don't know how they do. I would love to see a Creators Challenge or a Cup where it's just singles. Like, who's the best creator? Like, invite 16 people. Have you could even have six-sums. Like, it'll be unsanctioned. You know, have mob golf, maybe 6 and 6. Have a camera, catch cam and camera on each. And I will say, like, all I'm saying, it's so much easier to like say what to do, and actually execution is a better thing. This is my idea. I would love to see just like who is the best disc golf creator, and then I think that would be like a kind of like a crowning achievement for the creators to, like, you know, like something to be really proud of. But I also do like your idea of I would prefer just singles, personally. Maybe singles one round and then a second round, like you're saying. I do like the idea where AMs versus pros, because that's what the creator challenge is, like you and Gannon, and I think that makes a fun dynamic, like you're saying. Like if the AM messes up, that's okay because the pro's gonna that's the expectation that the AMs if they like throw into the ground or something like that. I think it'd be like, okay, like Jay Milley really has to hit the shot now, and then if you don't hit it, then it's like, oh my goodness, this guy has to clutch up. I think like you said, the expectation there would be a lot more like team, like balance, where it's like, entertaining. I think the format put so much pressure on everyone that they had to perform good, and then when that person didn't, it was kind of just like ugh, Whereas if it was just like a twosome, like you're saying, I think that is a pretty solid, because then it's really about just like you get to really know the team, and you can build so many cool storylines about that team, like the underdogs, because it's just two people. You can get a little more granular with it. So I don't know. That's just my thoughts from a limited viewing of the Creator Cup. So keep that in mind as well. That was just
Josh, I don't know if you were talking about keeping them separate the whole time. That's kind of what I got from what you were saying. But my take is, I think it'd be cool, and maybe this is sort of part of what Ben was referencing, but like if you started it off separating the pros and AMs and had different vibes, but then like 2 or 3 videos in for each, you combined them. So then you did the thing where you pair, like once you're like already narrowed down the field, you pair up like pros and AMs, and then you have like a final with like pair versus pair.
Yeah, I like that because I feel like I think it's just like another situation also where like there should have been intros, done like Imposter, where there's a backdrop and it's like, hey, tell us about your content, tell us what you make, tell us why winning this $2,000 matters to you. And they easily could have just like played that. Honestly, they could have just played that at the beginning of the video, put it 10 minutes, and then like put a little text up there that's like, hey, skip to 10 minutes if you just want to see them play. Because there's going to be a lot of people that I think want to know about each creator. And then heck, if they get into the series and they're like, oh wait, I wanted to know about that person, they go watch the 10 minutes. That's a little creator intro. And so by doing something like that, I think you like add storyline. Like I think it was, unless you're deep in the creator space like we all are, you don't really know all those people. And I think that was everyone's complaint. Like for me, even me, like I didn't know some of those people going into it. Now I obviously know all of them, and they're all awesome people, and I respect them, and I think they make great content. But being one of the people, like I had to look into some of their content and look into how they played, especially drafting a team, and I'm deep in it, So imagine someone who's fringe disc golfer, they've never heard of half of those people at least,
Yeah, I heard and read a lot of things that inferred that people could have watched a lot longer. Like they could have been like, I mean, I don't know y'all's opinion, but like hour and a half videos of like more storylines, more explanations of who people are, like let things drag out, let us sit in like, intense moments for a little bit.
I mean, dude, literally, I guess Sajko and Ben, you aren't in our creator chat, but like, in the finale, if you watch the finale, anyone listening or the guys here, on hole 16, Conkle and Andrew were both left with a par putt from like, it had to be like 35 feet. And it was at this point where like, I think we were down a couple strokes, but both of the guys were literally like the exact same distance. So on film, there was like this whole, not argument, but like we were talking like who's going first. Trevor measured it with a rangefinder. It was the exact same. I think they rock paper scissored for who would putt first, and then Conkle ended up putting first, cashed it, and then we were all like, bro, we're about to take a stroke, no way Andrew makes this. And then Andrew made it, and in the final edit, it's
upshot, putt, putt, next tee. And bro, it was a solid probably 15 minutes of like who's first, rock, paper, scissors, super tense. Like I remember thinking in the moment, like this is going to be a solid 10-minute segment of the video because it was good content. Like I remember in the moment thinking like this is good. Like this will be really good for the video, especially down the stretch. And then in the video, it was literally like putt, putt. And I was like, what the heck? Like it also just like played down their putts. Like they were really impressive putts. Like when Conkle cashed that putt, I was like, bro, if we win this, Conkle's going to the Creator Challenge because Conkle has played out of his mind today. And then like there was also a couple moments like that on 17, and then especially on 18, like Witt's tree kick on his first shot was like, I think that one was played up enough, but his second tree kick that kicked him back in bounds, like if that wasn't in bounds, like we either, like worst case scenario, we tie them. Best case scenario, I think we could have won the whole thing if he didn't get kicked back in bounds. And literally in video, it's just, oh, I kicked back in bounds. And then pretty much the video ends. Like that's the end. And like in the moment, I remember taking the camera to the side and being like, that was insane. Like, here's what happened. Like, I remember thinking like, there's not a camera up there, so I need to tell the camera exactly how it happened, and like the stakes of it all. And I guess they were like, this is not valuable, so we're not going to put it in, And so unfortunately, like I agree. Like I think those videos could have been much longer. And then, yeah, there was a lot of moments that just didn't get to breathe, in my opinion. But I think that just boils down to, like, who's editing it. Like, whoever was editing it, I guess just didn't see the value in it. And maybe that's just me being selfish, because I think that there was a lot of value in those moments.
Well, it was very foundation style edited. Like, it kind of just seemed like it was set up like, hey, we're just going to edit this like a foundation style video. Because, like, one of my buddies was saying, like, about this video and other videos, it was just like everything's kind of like, oh, move on, oh, that's the end of the video, slap out. And then it's like, so it just kind of felt the same.
I have a question. Sajko, this is for you. Would Joe, owner of Another Round, want to be a part of something like this? I know he's like not really competitive. Is that something? Because I would love to see him compete. I feel like it's the biggest mystery in life. I feel like we all know he's like a solid player, but we actually don't know how good he is if he could string around together. So I think that's like for me, I would love to see Joe play, but I also know like if that's not something he wants to do. But I'm just curious if he's ever like said something to you about it.
Totally. Totally. And like there's obviously you play different when there's pressure involved. So who knows what would actually happen. I think it kind of depends on the day for Joe. In general, I think he's not opposed to the idea of doing it, but the idea of having to leave his kids and like family for multiple days in a row.
That's what I'm saying. That's the big thing.
Makes that way different. So he probably would say no, all things considered. Not that it's probably worth trying at least and seeing like reaching out in that scenario just to see what he says, but you never know. He could surprise me and say yes.
We got to do it in Charlotte.
Facts.
That would make
Charlotte,
it way easier.
That's
Charlotte
a good
host
example.
it. Let's announce it, get some fans out there.
It would be pretty insane.
My ideal Creators Cup would be like ones where it's like you don't know who win, like Witt, Jay Millie, Bonanza, Joe, like the overthrow guys, Simon. No, I don't know. But yeah, to me, like I'm just listing off people where it's like oh my gosh, like who's gonna win this battle? So and they're all like top gods. Jesse from Trash Panda would love to see him. Robbie C would love to see. I love to see Robbie C. So I think that would, as a viewer, would for me. I guess I'm different. I just like seeing competitive disc golf, but it would be cool to see like the top dog, see who's the best.
Wrapping up 2 years of Funsie, what responsibility do you guys feel towards our audience? Do you feel any sort of responsibility us 2 years, Grant, 5 episodes. I think 5.
Grant, 2
Something
weeks.
like that. I feel a responsibility to not overstep. That's how I feel.
You've been doing a great job, I will say. Shout out Grant.
If y'all
Everyone, shout out Grant in chat. He's been going above and beyond what we've been,
W
what we kind
Grant,
of wanted.
W Grant comments in the comments, please. W Grant.
Because he's been getting all the guests. He's been doing all the reels. He's the reason Funsie's like kind of like getting this like second life again, which is like super cool to see. So we're super stoked about that, and to kind of like, I think Grant's going to be the reason Funsie's going to keep pushing more and more. So shout out Grant.
Shout out Grant.
Yeah.
I guess at least for myself, the responsibility I feel, something that, speaking of Joe is so good at seeing creators in the space, and he has such a good gauge. Like, they could have very minimal followers, and he can tell just like how much they care. Like, if they have that like determining factor of like, ooh, I like what this person's doing. They're putting in effort, whatever it is. So at this point, now we have people that are reaching out to come on the podcast. I want to use the outlet that we've developed to be able to put more of a spotlight on creators in the space, because even when we had Andrew on and I shouted out like 4 or 5 people, I saw like all those people reshare that part of the episode, I hope it made their day.
Yeah.
So if we can have
It
them
does.
on,
Definitely makes my day whenever I'm mentioning something.
same. And even selfishly, like we want to learn about these people, like things that we don't notice on screen. So I guess that's my responsibility that I feel, is to put a spotlight on these creators and just show them off to the people.
Yeah, as someone who openly wants to talk about the content side of disc golf more, like I feel the same thing. Like especially with the Creator Cup and no one knowing all of, or like a lot of the people playing in it, like, yeah, if we could have Funsie episodes with everyone that's competing in it before, and then that's openly available to anyone who wants to learn about someone that is competing in it, like, I think that is super valuable. So I agree with you, like spotlighting creators that are doing good things in this space, even if, you know, that like no one knows who they are. Like I think Gary, you guys know Gary Daddario, right? Yeah, like I think he makes great content, and like if you know disc golf, you know who he is, but like if you don't really know disc golf, you probably don't know who he is. Like I feel like it's the same thing with Joey Tamale. Like he was that way for the longest time, where if you weren't deep in disc golf, you didn't know who Joey Tamale was, but like if you were, you knew who he was for sure. And so like if we can highlight those people, I think it'll be super valuable to them, and I mean I think it'll be super valuable to us as well as just a podcast, because people will be like, wow, these are good guests.
See, I had an idea of like, you guys always have great ideas and tips and whatnot, especially you, Jay Millie, for content, and doing like having smaller creators on at different points and doing like content audits and like trying to help them, giving them advice and whatnot.
We did do that at one point.
I noticed that I don't know if this is from your advice, but I feel like you said something about Rip posting long form, how far can you throw? And I don't know if they listened to you or they just did it anyway, but they started doing it and it's popping off.
I have the answer. They did listen to the podcast fully, because like me and Whit were chatting like when he first even started. And then I was in North Cove, saw Whit in person, and then he's like, yeah, we were just listening to podcasts. He was like, yeah, we're planning on doing long form, how far you can throw, but like different, because my suggestion was just like clipping all the reels together and make a compilation, but he's like, but like completely different people, like not even people you'll see on the shorts. So they did listen, but I think that was their plan as well. Listen to the podcast, I should say.
That's cool.
Also, should we just have like a most liked comment gets on the podcast next? Because there's a bunch of people that want on.
Should we do that? I mean, if you've listened this far.
Yeah, Sajko's the voice of reason, so maybe he makes that decision.
Yeah, what do you think, Sajko?
I've never been scared one time in my life. But also simultaneously, I won't be on the podcast next week. I'll be visiting family up in Connecticut. So
perfect
you guys will
for a guest. Then we need a guest.
Exactly.
That's perfect.
So I say send it.
I mean, I think having a episode titled like we had one of you guys come on the podcast or something like that is just a fun idea. So
All right.
like, I'm
So-
down for something like that.
Comment, or are we going to do it on Instagram? Should we just do it, or should we do it on this video?
People should definitely make their pitch. Like, I want to know why we should have you on. Tell us why we should have you on and what value we can provide you, as well as what value you can provide us as a podcaster.
How much money can you pay each of us
Incorrect.
to be on our podcast?
2 years, baby.
Yeah, like Ben said, 2 years. I love these guys. I look forward to it each week, and to be 2 years into this is insane. But like, proud of what we've been creating in the process, even if it's not perfect each time. Definitely getting better with each week that passes. So, kind of like what we talked about, we have a ton of guests. They're not even quite lined up yet. It's sort of a week-to-week basis, but we have a huge list of people that we can't wait to talk about and put a spotlight on them. Until next time, guys. Yeah, Funsie out.
Funsie!
Funsie!